Good morning, and welcome to today's Qlik training for LEAs. My name's Kathy Ash, and I am on the Training and Technical Assistance team for the Division of Accountability and Research. I'm joined here by members of our team, Dr. Carmen Rowland, who is the Director of Training and Technical Assistance, and Leah Diggs Ntico. We're happy to be able to discuss this tool with you and look forward to getting your feedback about the system. With Qlik, you can create dashboards and visualizations to assist you in making decisions for students and your LEA staff. Now, before we begin with today's training content, we just have a few reminders. A copy of today's slides and a recording of the webinar will be posted to SLED under the Training section located directly under the Library tab or within the Library tab. If you have any questions during the webinar, please enter them in the chat box. We will answer your questions as we go along. We will send out a follow-up email with questions to everyone on this webinar. During today's training, we will provide an overview of systems, a review of applications in the system, a demonstration of Qlik Sense navigation and applications. PSB will provide reminders and announcements. We'll do some troubleshooting tips and frequently asked questions and discuss the next steps and provide closing remarks. So what is Qlik? Qlik is a self-service data application that empowers users to easily create a range of flexible, interactive visualizations. Qlik Sense delivers visualization and ease of exploration, user-driven drag and drop creation, and collaboration and storytelling. Why Qlik Sense for LEAs? Qlik Sense is the newest installment of reports that OSSE is providing to LEAs so that you have a real-time access to data. As an agency, we wanted to find a tool that will enable us and you to do better reporting. At first, we wanted to provide more interactive reports within the enterprise reporting system, but then we moved towards full deployment of Qlik. So again, it allows users to create predefined reports within their own applications, and data available in the application is interlinked, which helps users to analyze quickly. Currently, the following applications are available to LEAs in Qlik. OSSE has created two applications. The first one is the attendance application. Data from this application comes from the attendance feed. The second application is the enrollment application. This application includes enrollment information as well as assessment information. These two applications are available to you in the Streams section of Qlik. And Dr. Rowland is going to actually be doing a demonstration of the tool, and there you will see the applications and how they are used. You're able to log into Qlik directly from the web, or you may log in from SLED. Once you are logged in, you're taken to your home screen. This screen provides you with several streams. LEA users can see LEA and OSSE streams. You will also be able to view the applications that you create. Each LEA has an internal stream that only you can see. And the screen that you see now is a screenshot of what this looks like. You can access Qlik by logging into SLED and clicking on the Reports tab, and then navigating to the OSSE Analysis Tool section. That's logging into Qlik from SLED. Now what you see is a snapshot of the Qlik home screen. The view now is the attendance application overview. The attendance application has 13 sheets available. However, the enrollment application overview or application has 7 applications. There are 7 applications in the enrollment application. And this is a screenshot of what that application looks like. Here you see a view of the sample attendance sheet. This is a monthly attendance sheet from Qlik. Weekly and daily attendance sheets are similar. The shot you see here, the attendance submission rate sheet, we will display this screenshot, and during the Qlik live demo, we will review the other submission rate sheets. Again, we have several sample screenshots, and Dr. Rowland is going to get more in depth once she does the live demonstration. This is a sample screenshot of a pie chart displaying the percentage of attendance status by age group. And then you have a screenshot of the in-seat attendance, the enrollment, the DC CAS Proficiency Levels, and this is by year. What you see here is by year and subject. A sample of the student assessment data. A lot of information available to you in Qlik, and we are confident that once you get in the tool and start working in it, it will provide you with quite a bit of information to support your LEA. Turning it over to Dr. Rowland.
Thank you, Kathy. Hello, everyone. Now what we're going to do is switch to conducting a demonstration of the Qlik application. So I'm going to log out of this PowerPoint presentation here and log into Qlik. So let me get back to Qlik Sense. Okay, here we are. So I'm already logged into the application. What you see when you log in, you'll know if you're logged in correctly because your name will be displaying here. I'm in OSSE's demonstration account. So this is the demo login. And I have here you have your work streams, and you have your LEA and work stream. So there's a couple of work streams there. There's the LEA work stream, and this is where OSSE provides data for you to be able to drive decision-making at your LEA. Then we have an OSSE data stream that's also available to LEAs, but this is where we would load statewide information or aggregate information at the state level, not student level or LEA level. And then we have what's called internal streams. Every LEA has an internal stream, and this one is for me. This is the OSSE internal stream, and this is where we have included our demo applications where I'm going to use today to walk you through the program, walk you through the Qlik tool. So just as Kathy was mentioning, we have our attendance demo app as well as an enrollment demo app. I'm going to first tell you that the data in both applications, the attendance application and the enrollment application, the data is refreshed in the nightly feed. Attendance comes from the LEA SIS via ADT or the LEA student attendance tracker to ADT, but some way it comes from your SIS or the LSAT to ADT and then to OSSE. Assessment data, which is included in the enrollment application, that data is based on DC CAS data at this time. And then the enrollment data is also from ADT to SLED, and this is the roster, certified master roster from SLED. So the information in these applications should look and feel the same as they do in what you see in SLED and in your SIS, because we're pulling it directly from there. So I'm going to walk you through the attendance application. You see as I click on the app, it provides me more information about the last time the data was published. So again, this is a demo app. This is the last time it was published. I'm going to double click on that. And you see it's populating, it's opening, it's working, trying to get all the data there. Okay. So this is the app screen. It's very similar to what Kathy was showing. We have 13 sheets here in this particular application, attendance application. You see across the top you have the bookmarks. If I wanted to bookmark my place, say I was working in the application yesterday and now I'm returning. So the system allows you to bookmark the last place that you were if you want to return to your work and complete a project. So you can see those are listed there. And then also, if I created any presentations or stories to share with colleagues at my LEA or parents, for instance, those stories are also stored here, and you can get to those things by clicking on the icons, the navigation menu. You can also see the navigation menu here, as well as another menu there. All right, so we are, this is the navigation menu, and again, I'm on the stories page. I'm going to go back to my sheets page. So again, there are 13 sheets here. The introduction sheet is just that. It just tells you the name of what the sheets are. To get to the following sheet, I could just click on this right arrow, and I'll be taken there. So we have the, again, charter sector attendance data here, and I'm just waiting for the page to load, the data to load here. It's taking a few minutes. So this is what the attendance, monthly attendance data looks like. Again, I'm in the demographic, or the, not demographic, but the demonstration application. So this is fake data. You can see there are students over here. We just showed the USIs. If you wanted to also see students' names, that would be here. You could just select one student, and then just their information for the entire month would populate for you. And what this application does is gives you the last attendant recorded first. So it gives you the most recent attendance, and then you track backwards and look backwards to the beginning of the month for the monthly attendance sheet. You can also see what happened when I filtered the report to just show me one student. It actually, you can see this gray, these filters here, these gray and white lines to tell me how much of my information, what percentage of my information is, of my full data set is being displayed right now, and what have I filtered out. So if I remove that filter, you would see these gray lines go back to black, go back to white, as so. So this is the monthly attendance charter sector application or sheet. You can see here we also included for you the definitions, kind of the dictionary for what the different attendance codes mean. And so when you see the different letters, for instance, NSD, that means it was a non-school day. So of course no attendance was being tracked that day or entered that day. The next sheet, I can also see my different sheets here by clicking on that, or I can keep clicking on the right arrow or the left arrow to go forwards or backwards. The next sheet is the weekly attendance, so I'm double clicking on that. And this is, again, looks very similar to the monthly attendance sheet. Same information being displayed, is on a weekly basis. I'm going to now go to the daily attendance sheet by double clicking. Again, the same information is being displayed. Now we are at a daily attendance rate. So now if I wanted to see a certain day's attendance for my LEA, I want to go to August 4th, and I would click the check mark, and you could see here again, you know that the filter is there because of the white and gray, and then also the filters would display up top. So if you wanted to undo a filter, you would just exit out that way. We have attendance counts, the sheet for attendance counts for enrollment period. So again, this is their total number of instructional days, and then how many students per that period were present, and then how many students were in those different categories. And it tells you for, how many days per student that they are in these different categories. We have the submission rate that Kathy mentioned. So this lets you know that your attendance data, how great that is, how good it is coming over, and if there's any issues with your LEA and with your submitting attendance for students. Age versus attendance. We have different charts for you where we're showing you for 4-year-olds, you have this many 4-year-olds in your LEA, 5.8%. That count, if you hover over it, also gives you the count. That's about 340,000 students. And so if I wanted to drill down to that to see exactly, who that was, who those students are, the form here, this sheet, would give me that information. So if I wanted to go to the 4-year-old, it'll give me that information here. There we go. So now I'm displaying 100% of 4-year-olds in my data. And then, but it's still 340,000 students. And then we have the graphics, the bar chart for how many of in each category are there. And I remove the filter, and you can see what happens to the bar chart, the bar graph. The next sheet is in-seat attendance. And this just gives me an overall view of how many students in my LEA compared to the entire sector of charter schools are in attendance. What's the attendance rate like? And you can see that's a comparison here. Again, this is fake data, so this is what I'm displaying here is not really showing you, allowing you to make any comparisons or draw any comparisons. But if this was your real LEA data, you would be able to see overall sector information versus your LEA and how your LEA is doing with attendance compared to other LEAs, other schools. Submission rate pivot. This gives you information for your school campus, by school campus, and lets you know how you're doing in terms of submitting your attendance data to OSSE and PCSB, and we want to make sure that you have this information so that you can make sure your data is coming over accurately to OSSE. We have a submission rate export sheet that's taking its time to load there. So this just tells you student level, school level, and LEA level information around a particular month or day, depending on what you wanted to export from this system. Also, if you wanted to take any of these snapshots and put this into PowerPoint or put this into Word or just print it off or export to PDF, you can do that by right-clicking on the image, and then you can have to take a snapshot. So I'm going to do that, take a snapshot of this. And now this particular image is stored in my library. So once I go to take snapshots, my library will come up, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And then you have your in-seat pivot attendance. Again, this is just the information about in-seat attendance at your school, per school campus, so you can know, and by month, so you can see information there about your students, how many students, your percentage of in-seat attendance. And this is the in-seat attendance export sheet. Again, if you wanted to export any of this information, say I wanted this to be a certain month, I would click on that and do a filter. And then unexcused absences. If I wanted to do a report on unexcused absences, that would populate for me there. And it's broken down by counts of 5 and then percentages over here to your right. And I could do that by school campus, and it just shows me if I only want to see a certain school campus, that information would populate for me in this sheet. And then I could take a snapshot or export to PDF. Let's say I wanted to export this data. And it says it's ready for download. Again, I right-clicked on that, and now this data opens up for me in Excel in a nice table format. So that's just, some tools that you can just export data directly from the application and work with it in whatever makes you comfortable. So you have those again. I'm going to take a snapshot of this one and then come back to that when I do stories. And that's it. That is the overview of the attendance application. The system also allows you to create a new sheet as well if you wanted to. And you can just give it a name and provide data for that sheet, and then you would have a new sheet. So to say, now I have a new sheet, and I will have to start editing my sheet by adding data to it and to create visualizations. So I can drag items from the library to the sheet so I can play with that. That's the new sheet. Okay, that was the Charter Attendance app. Let's go over to the Enrollment app. Let's see if we can get back out of this. And once I go over the Enrollment app and the sheets available there, I will walk you through bookmarking, how to bookmark, and also how to create stories. Okay. So now that was the attendance demographics demo app. Now we're going to do the enrollment application. Make sure this is the demo before I open it. Yep. Okay. So again, this enrollment information comes directly from ADT to SLED, and from your sister ADT to SLED, and so that's where you're seeing this information from. So same structure as the other application, the attendance application, just different sheets. This one doesn't have as many sheets in it available. So you have basically in this application enrollment information and then assessment information. And the assessment information here is based off of the DC CAS data. Okay, so this again is that first intro sheet, just to give you an idea of what's there. We have an overview of student attendance. So this looks very similar to the dashboard that you see when you log into SLED for your uncertified roster. You have the ward of residence here. You have your gender, race and ethnicity of your students, the grade level of students. And in these menus, you see only certain information is showing, but we know as a state we have more than those grades available to us. So you scroll down over here and you can see the different grade levels that are available in each of these displays, in each display. Again, here with the race and ethnicity, within this chart or table, you can see, we have more than 4 demographic race categories, and so we can scroll down to see the others and the student count in each of those categories. Same for wards. We know we have another ward, so we're going to scroll over to that and display that for you. Okay, so the same as in the other application, I can do a filter and try to get this application to only display certain information. So that's just what's available here in the overview for the 15-16 school year. I wanted to just display right there, filter in the app. I can see because I clicked on PK4, now I only get 6,846 students versus the 85,172 students. So you can just play around right here in the application and do those filters. Okay, so that's the overview sheet. I'm going to go to the next sheet. Remember, I can go there through here or by clicking on the arrows. So since I've already clicked on that drop down, let's do that. This again is just the same data, just in chart form. So if I wanted to take these, grab these displays, and put these in a file or take a snapshot, I can do that. So I can create my own data, or things I want to filter. I'm just trying to get the snapshot. And then I'll just grab our race ethnicity graph here, chart. Okay. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to build a story there. So now I'm going to do a proficiency level by year and subject. So again, you can see information for the DC CAS, and I am looking at math, reading, science, and then the composition. Now I'm looking at the proficient level, and I can see the proficiency level by subject in this graph down here. I can also just see that trend line over the tested year. I want to look at the same information for students who scored in the basic range. I can also see that. So again, Qlik allows you to play around with data, create your own visualizations, and then export them to graphs, to documents that you may be writing, so that you can share this information with others at your LEA, so that you can make, ultimately make decisions for students. The next is the tested students, and it just gives you an idea for your LEA, a picture of how your students compared with other students who scored in the same range or the same proficiency level. And then we just have a table around the DC CAS proficiency levels and the number of students who scored in certain ranges over the year, over the years. And then lastly, in this application, we have a student assessment data overview. So if I wanted to review information for certain students, that's here. You can see I have rosters here of certain students, and I get to see their information sort of in an Excel format. So that's, again, available to you. All right, so let's close that out. Okay, so those are the sheets and the data that's currently available to you in Qlik. Now I'm going to walk you through bookmarking, and then I'll go to stories. So if I want to bookmark where I am in this particular application or this particular sheet, the bookmark just creates the title of the sheet right now. I can provide a description and say, was working on investigating student assessment data roster. Next step is to export the data to Excel. And then that's it. Now I have a bookmark in my application. Right, and I can close that out by just clicking out of that. So that's a bookmark. Now if I go back to App Overview, and I go to Bookmarks, my bookmark is there. And I just double click on that, and it takes me right back to the sheet I was on. And my filters that I had there already in place. Okay, and I can just pick up from where I left off. All right, so Now I want to take a snapshot of this particular information. I'm going to have my click on that camera, and in order to take a snapshot of this, I'm going to just double click, and you see what it did there. Once I double click, it confirmed that it added one picture to the library. That's what that camera and the number 1 means there. And then if I do the same thing here, it did the same thing. It added it to the library. I know that because it put the camera there and then gave me the number 1. I want to go back to some other sheets and grab some information. So I want to do the proficiency level by year. And I'm going to now remove my filter because that's no longer what I'm interested in. So I want to do another snapshot. So I'm going to click on proficiency share and this pie chart for that, and then also proficiency level by subject and the proficiency, the chart, the actual chart for that. Now I'm going to go to stories, and I'm going to create a new story. This new story is going to be called Assessment CAS Assessment Data Proficiency Levels. Okay, now I have that. I can click here, and now what you see looks sort of like PowerPoint. Very similar to Microsoft PowerPoint, where I have my icons over here, my view to let me know the slides that I've created, and then also my workspace in this area so that I can actually create the content for the presentation, document, or something I'm doing to share with other colleagues at my school. So to get to your library, you go to this icon here, and to take your snapshot library, you go here. If I wanted to add some text to this, I would click on that, just one click, and drag the title here. And then if I wanted to edit, I could double click or click on that pencil. And this one I'm just going to say CAS Proficiency Overview. All right, so that's my title there, and now I want to add a new slide. I'm going to click on the button, Add Slide, and I'm going to do a sheet. And I have to select a sheet, and I want to actually add this sheet. And there you go. So I added a sheet. Or if I wanted to add a blank sheet and I want to build content, I could go to my media library and plug in the different snapshots I just took. This is how I build stories. If I wanted to add diagrams or shapes, I could do so and change the color and add some text to it. Okay. And then after I do that and I want to play, I can do just like that. So that's how you create a story. You can also get to the sheets from this button here to toggle back to your sheets. Then if I wanted to add any effects, I could do that. Go back on my sheet here. All right. So that is Qlik. I've shown you the application. I've shown you where to go, the different applications that are available, the sheets that are available in each application, some basic functionality of clicking around in the tool, mainly exporting information or creating stories, and then how to save a bookmark in the tool so that you can do your work and get to work in Qlik. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Again, we are definitely going to create more in-depth training around Qlik and around the upload process and how to create more data visualizations and create your own data sheets. Or turn it to Tim Harwood with PCSB and allow him to give you some reminders and announcements from the Public Charter School Board.
Okay, thank you. OSSE has created these Qlik tools for attendance for multiple reasons, as Carmen announced, to empower schools to understand your data and to also make sure that the data that you're sending over to OSSE is correct and accurate. And then thirdly, to make sure that you can stay on top of the different PCSB policies to make sure that you're compliant with them. And so, I guess the thing that I'm going to talk about today is how you can use Qlik to make sure that you're compliant with the PCSB policies. Next slide. Okay, so each month there's PCSB requires that LEAs to submit at least 90% of their attendance data into Qlik, and so there's a submission rate pivot table that Carmen showed earlier, and also PCSB, just to make sure, like if we're noticing differences in attendance, we might ask whether your data is accurate, and if we still need to do further investigation, we might do an audit of the student's attendance. But all of it is meant to just make sure that the data that is in your school information system is coming over correctly to the OSSE's data system, and also we also want to make sure that you're collecting and submitting accurate attendance data into your SIS as well. And so PCSB's data management policy, which you can click on in this PowerPoint, will talk more about the data submission policy. Okay, so then, so each month PCSB reports the number of students who should be referred to chronic truancy, for chronic truancy to CFSA and court social services. And then CFSA and court social services sends us how many students were actually referred. And then when we look at how many students were referred by the school versus how many should have been referred based on the attendance in Qlik, and we see a large gap between the two, then PCSB will follow up with schools to make sure that either their attendance is correct in Qlik, or that to ask why there haven't been more referrals. Just as a reminder, students between the ages of 5 and 13 with 10 or more unexcused absences should be referred to CFSA, and students with 15 or more unexcused absences who are between the ages of 14 and 17 years of age should be referred to Court and Social Services. Okay, so the last piece that I want to talk about is PCSB's truancy policy. And so PCSB's truancy policy is intended to make sure that schools focus on improving attendance for all students, including students who are already truant. So, for elementary and middle schools, if the entire school has a truancy rate of 20%, then we're going to verify that truancy rate first with the LEA, and then if it is exceeded, if that truancy rate is exceeded, then we would follow the truancy policy, which you can click on, and might bring your school before the board. And currently we're working on a truancy rate report with OSSE so that you can help you track these truancy rates. And actually, in today's Wednesday bulletin, there have been revisions to how the truancy rate is calculated this year based on the citywide truancy rate task force. So I encourage you to take a look at the business rules for how the truancy rate is calculated in PCSB's Wednesday bulletin. Okay, thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Carmen.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. If you have questions for Tim, please put them in the chat box. He's here, live here with us at OSSE, so you can ask any questions that you have of the Public Charter School Board and the policies there and the data and what they're asking you to do. So we wanted to just kind of go over a few troubleshooting tips and FAQs. Again, with any data system, I know sometimes there are login issues or access issues. So if you are having login issues, make sure the first thing you want to do is make sure you're using the credentials provided to you by OSSE. So a couple of weeks ago, my team worked to make sure that the next, I guess, this second wave of LEAs had tokens for Qlik, and those tokens are based on your SLED login credentials. And so you just want to make sure that when you're logging into Qlik, you're using your SLED username and password, or the username and password that you're using for SLED. And then two, if you need access to SLED, please put a ticket in the OSSE support tool, or you can let us know in the chat box, or you can email us at osse.dartraining@dc.gov, osse.dartraining@dc.gov. Email us requesting SLED training, and we will make sure that we provide it to you. I just wanted to put that note out there because you do need access to SLED in order to be able to access Qlik. The other thing, if you have any of the following issues in terms of Qlik system issues or student level data issues or access to the Qlik system, you want to submit a ticket to the OSSE support tool, our go-to customer service support tool. So the OSSE support tool is your friend. Please use that. In terms of today's webinar, the training materials and resources for Qlik and the recording of the webinar will be posted to the library tab in SLED. So we have shown you a screenshot here, provided you with a screenshot here for that, so that you know where to go to find the training materials. You do not need to log into SLED to be able to view these training materials. This is available to you without a SLED login. So the library tab is available and open to you without a SLED login. If you do have questions, again, please make sure you put those in the OSSE support tool, or for specific questions around what Timothy was providing today, please email him at tharwood@dcpcsb.org. And that is it in terms of our presentation today. We will stay online and keep the webinar going in case you have specific questions about Qlik and you want to see a certain something demoed in there. We'll keep that open for you and keep this on. And we're going to turn to our questions now to just see what's in there and see what you all have. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're glad that you were able to weather the storm. And we look forward to seeing you. The LEA data meeting, it looks like it will be on for tomorrow, but look for a note about that later today just to confirm that. But as far as we know right now, for those of you who did respond to the poll that was sent out yesterday, we thank you. And it looks like we will be able to still have that meeting tomorrow at 11 at OSSE. But stay tuned. Okay, so we had a question from the audience. One that says, will OSSE be providing training support to LEAs on building new Qlik applications or how to incorporate local LEA data into the applications provided by OSSE? Yes, actually, we will be providing training and support to LEAs, and
I would be willing to.
Okay, and Tim is also going to provide support and training to LEAs around this. The one thing we want to make sure we tell you is that in order for you to be able to upload data into the FFPP site, we have to get your IP address and we have to whitelist that. That way that our technical folks here at OSSE know to accept the data that you're sending over. But thank you for that question, and just stay tuned. We will be providing lots more training for you around Qlik. Yes, so we have another question. The question is there a workaround for pulling information from Qlik? For instance, if I am looking for students missing attendance, it can show the list, but then I must verify each USI individually rather than exporting a CSV or Excel file to check with my SIS. Cross-checking between Qlik and my SIS is tedious. Okay, we hear you, and we want to make sure that we show you how to get in there. So I'm going to escape out of my PowerPoint presentation, and then let's see, get back to Qlik. Hopefully I'm not still, let's see, not a story. I need a sheet, just one sheet. There we go. Okay, let's try this. So I'm in the charter attendance, again, charter school, charter sector attendance demo app. I'm going to just do the attendance counts here. I just picked the sheet. And here are the USIs. Here's the student name. All I have to do is right-click on this, and it will export data. I can either take a snapshot or export this data to CSV or to Excel. So it says, click here, your data file is ready for download. And then there it is there, an Excel file that will open up. So please let us know if that answered your question. Okay. So we again thank you for logging into today's webinar, and we hope that you you found this helpful. Thank you.